Hello. So I've had an incredible amount of DMs, which is lovely, asking me to critique or to edit people's poetry, which first of all is an incredible compliment. Thank you so much. If you're one of those people that have asked for me to have a look at or edit or give advice on your writing, that is an incredibly large privilege you're giving somebody. So thank you so much. Secondly, I've always felt a bit uncomfortable giving critiques on poetry, and I tried to identify what that's from, and I think it's because I've always seen poetry as an expression of the soul. So you don't ever want to curtail somebody's complete expression through poetic form, because perhaps that's a really important attribute of their spirit that they're trying to communicate. That's one half of it. The other half of it, I realized I was being a bit silly with that assumption, because of course, learning really great language forms and features that can help people communicate their beliefs, their ideas, their feelings is a wonderful thing to learn. And so I thought, hello. I thought what would probably be a great thing to do, since I'm getting asked, I may as well do like a series of would you call them workshops? Not really workshops. I'm just going to babble for a bit in a very playful yet analytical way about different language techniques, or things like sonnets, or how to write a vignette, or how to write a different structure, so that you can learn the rules of writing, and then if you want to, you can break them. So here's the really important thing, and I learned this from a wonderful music teacher. I studied and played trumpet for far too long. It was probably for a sane person to be doing, but I had this really great lecturer in music, and he always said, because I loved playing jazz, but he always said, Charlotte, you're allowed to improvise once you've learnt your scales and arpeggios and your bark and your handle. So in other words, once you've learnt the rules, you can play with them. And not only can you play with them, but you can do all sorts of really fun, commanding things with them. So I thought, instead of telling you whether or not, when I'm reading somebody's poetry that they're asking me to edit, instead of saying, oh, are you feeling like a metaphor here, or do you think maybe this could be more figurative or more literal, I should probably actually explain what those sorts of techniques and what those sorts of structures actually do and why they're really effective. Now, how do we do that? The best way to do that, of course, is to study the greats. John Donne, okay, Shakespeare, obviously. Beowulf, right? Alliterative poetry is so cool. There's all these sorts of forms, these ancient forms that are phenomenal in their ability to command attention, to communicate feeling. So what I'm going to do is essentially do little half an hour, either lives or recorded videos. Either way, you'll be able to access them, obviously, on my Substack. But little half an hour to an hour videos explaining specific forms, so that if you want to learn how to use that form or exploit it and employ it in your own writing, then you can use that as a base, right? And then that means that if any editor or any person starts reading and they go, I liked this bit, but it was like not symbolic enough, you'll actually know how to write symbolism in there. Or if you're reading your own writing and you go, hey, this is good, but it's a bit like the structure's a bit loose. Like I want it to have a bit more form to it, right? A bit more strict, maybe rhythm or rhyme or iambic pentameter, whatever you want to use. You'll know how to do those things. So I'm going to start this coming Monday, which is in the Southern Hemisphere. So I think it's Sunday afternoon/evening for you guys. And I'm going to put a lot of them in normal access. Some of them will be paid subscriber stuff. Some will be normal subscriber stuff, kind of split a bit more down the middle. And yeah, if you have any suggestions about what you would like to learn or what sort of structures you'd like to look at, let me know. Obviously, my studies have looked throughout my time at university and beyond, usually from Shakespeare backwards. So Old English and Medieval English was my specialty, but of course, to be able to do that, you need to look at a lot of different writing styles through the 1700s, 1800s, so we'll be looking at all of it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So follow along. If you have any suggestions, let me know. But yeah, that's the series to come. Hope you enjoy.